This Business Newsmakers is brought to you by Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. There's a reason people live here. There's a reason people bank here.
I'm standing outside the Palace Diner here in Poughkeepsie, and inside is Frankie Castella. I think everybody in the area is very excited to not necessarily see Charlie go, but to see you come in, because I think you were a great choice for the area. But give us a little bit of the history of how did this come about? I mean, I know you got out of college, you've been working in your parents' business and really growing that, doing a great job there. How does it go from that to being involved in the chamber so much and all of a sudden taking it over as the president?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I always felt as though that I could do anything, as long as it was business related. It just came to me as common sense. And when I came into the business now 14 years ago, my family's printing company, I knew it had to be done. I knew that we were behind the times technologically. I knew the equipment that we needed to change, and we did it, and that to me was very rewarding.
Well, I think what's really impressive is in most chambers, okay, even the smaller chambers, maybe it's a very small chamber, somebody comes out of the community and gets involved. Well, this isn't really considered a small chamber. You're a chamber with about 1,800 members, handles all of Dutchess County, in terms of a regional chamber of commerce. You don't have chamber president experience, but obviously you were a chair there before. So how do you think that being a chair for the chamber helped you prepare now to become the president?
Well, it's started out as just coming onto the board, and I was on the board over a term of almost 10 years. When you factor in the time that you spend as not only on the board, but when you go on into your executive committee, your chairmanship, or I shouldn't say chairmanship, but your executive committee now rolls into a continuous term. So until you become chair. Over the course of 10 years, you begin to pick up not only the inner workings of the chamber itself, but you also begin to pick up the personalities, and you begin to understand how things need to be done in order to become a cohesive organization. And certainly being on the board is one thing, but when you go onto the executive committee, you start to learn the details and you understand more in depth.
I have to imagine, you're a little bit about stepping in, and there's got to be an excitement to it, that you have this organization that can really make a difference in the community, that it's being left in a good position where you can take it to a different level. But there's also got to be a nervousness to it of going in, where before when you were the chair, you were the head of the chair, but he was really still the head. Now it's all going to come down on your shoulders. So what does it feel like to have that excitement, but I'm sure that nervousness at the same time? What does that feel?
The emotion, I just can't even describe it. Walking away from a family business that was founded by my grandfather, started in 1937, a company that's been here in Dutchess County and servicing all throughout the country. We ship stuff all over the world, and it's something to me that is so rewarding to deliver a product. This is just a different type of product, and this is my community. This is where I grew up. This is where I live. I want the best for our community, and it may sound almost like a politician in saying that, but the truth be told, that I want my family to grow up having the same experiences I had, being able to live in this community where we have farms and where we have Hudson Valley Fresh and where we have businesses that everybody knows everyone. When you walk in, you say hello to the owner or to the people that are on staff there, and they like you, and there's good camaraderie and great energy and great creativity in this community.
Looking at the chamber, from what you know of it, what do you think the top 3 things this chamber does? You say the 3 greatest strengths of this chamber are, what would that be?
Well, certainly business advocacy. I think that's number 1. I don't think that, and I think that's probably the sleeper in the whole thing. People don't realize how often this organization outreaches to the political arena, just being able to pick up the phone and get the senator on the phone and say, hey, look, we have an issue here with something. I have a business that needs this, and getting a phone call back. Those are things that the political, I should say the politicians or our political leaders have respected the chamber for. They've always felt as though that we're their eyes and ears in this area. And that's probably the number 1 thing that this chamber has done well, and I also think it can even do better. We have so many issues right now in New York State that we are trying to take on, particularly one in our county, which is item pricing with the chamber. And we're the lead advocate for the MTA tax, and I know Mr. North led that along with some of our other political leaders here in Dutchess County and our leaders that are up in New York State government. And they were able to repeal most of that tax. So I think that's the number one thing that this chamber does well. Certainly networking is a number two. I think networking is a key for businesses, being able to have an outreach with our partners in business, and also being the voice for businesses. I think that's very important, being an outlet for them, marketing-wise. We certainly not only have the Bottom Line newsletter, but we have so many other ways that we can get the word out about businesses, from ribbon cuttings to our website. And we have 4,000 businesses here in Dutchess County. Only 1,700 of them are members. And I feel as though that we almost don't, it's a disservice when someone isn't a member, because we're not outreach, there's no outreach for that on behalf of that business when they're not a member of the chamber. So I think it's important. Membership is going to be a really big driving force of mine to try to gain some more membership here in Dutchess County.
So you have the advantage of being a member of the chamber for years, working on the board. Now you're going on the other side of the fence, if you will. So if I had to ask you, and it could be maybe from a member perspective, is the two areas you think the greatest improvement we could have as a chamber? You're saying, boy, if there's two things I think we need to focus on that can make a big difference, they would be, what do you think that is?
Membership and membership.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of?
Well, as I said earlier, that I think membership is going to be key in the survival of the organization. Because of our members, obviously, that's what creates this organization. But organizing it and making it so that our members understand how this organization is beneficial to them. And I think that's something that we haven't done very well over the last several years. Helping them realize what exactly this organization does. People know us as the event organization, or they know us as the networking organization, and everybody joins for one reason or another. And they might have joined because they want to grow their business, or they may have joined because they needed health insurance. But in the end, they don't understand what other things that we do, and I think that's something that is going to be key for us. And having those members, giving the word of mouth to say that this chamber does all these great things in our community. They have scholarships, they have leadership programs for youth, and so on. So I think that's going to be important to do a good outreach to our members.
Looking at yourself, you're saying, okay, going into it, if you had to name one or two areas for improving yourself these are the things that I think I need to work on most going into this position. What are those two areas for improvement for yourself?
Public speaking.
You're not even in it yet.
Public speaking. Behind a camera, that's not my thing. I'm a one-on-one person. I enjoy good conversation with somebody. I'm a great listener, and I think that public speaking is probably my weakest point. But if I have a meeting with someone, I can certainly communicate with them well, and I think that they'll understand where I'm coming from, and they usually generally get a great vibe from the relationship that we have.
If you could speak to the chamber membership right now, and you want to tell them one thing about yourself, the chamber, the future, whatever your message might be, what would your message be to the chamber? Everybody sitting in this room right in front of you right now, what would your message be to them?
Well, my wife and my nieces and nephew call me Uncle Punk.
Okay.
Because they like to, because I like to tease. So I can be a little bit of a tease, and I do enjoy a sense of humor. But I think the number one thing is that people keep asking me, what are you going to change? What are you going to change? What are you going to change? And the truth be told, that I'm not changing very much. You don't fix something that's not broken. Yeah, there might be some improvements that can be made, and I'm always open for suggestion. And the membership has to know that my door is always open, as Mr. North's was. And those ideas, that's what we need, the creativity of our community. That's what built America. We need to have that creativity. We need people to come forward and say, Frank, look, we want to do this in the community. We think that this is a great fit for the chamber. Let's work together on it. Working together, being creative, coming up with new and great ideas that are going to improve the business environment here in Dutchess County are going to be key aspects to the future growth here.